Good evening, everybody at BIM Show Live 2022. And I'll start off by saying that unfortunately I am unable to be with you there in person today due to being away on business. But I'm here today to talk to you about smart buildings, and specifically to talk to you about Skanska's journey in smart buildings over the last 2 years, as we feel it's important to share our story as the world begins to emerge into new markets such as smart technologies and intelligent buildings within the construction industry. So my name is Thomas Gould. I am Head of Digital Solutions for Skanska Building Division within the UK, and I've been co-heading up a team within Skanska to investigate smart buildings over the last 2 years. Today, I would like to talk to you about a few things. I would like to talk to you about why we started this journey. I would then like to move into the market research phase that we embarked on at the very start of our journey a few years ago. I want to talk to you about what our vision is as a business at Skanska for smart buildings, and talk to you around some of the feasibility market research that we did during that phase as well, to test whether our vision is something that we can see moving forward for not just Skanska, but for the rest of the industry also. I'd like to talk to you about the solution that we've been creating and have now almost completed, and the case study that we completed at our HQ in 51 Moorgate in London City, before just finalising on some next steps. But before I begin, the obligatory opening around Skanska, for those that don't know who Skanska are, well, we're one of the world's leading project development and construction groups, founded in 1887 in Sweden. So we have a Swedish heritage. Globally, around about 30,000 people, but here in the UK, around about 5,000. And we work across not just buildings, but we cover building services. We have an FM division, and we also carry very big infrastructure projects as well, specifically in the UK. Okay. So moving into smart buildings, why did we first of all start on this journey in the first place? We really started this journey because we realised that the world around us is digitalising. Markets outside of construction are far more productive than construction industry itself because they are digital. If we look at the likes of the automotive industry or manufacturing, they are leaps and bounds ahead of the construction industry, because they've taken that leap sooner than ourselves. But actually, as we begin to move forward through probably the last 4 or 5 years, we have begun to see the construction industry digitalising, specifically through the use of BIM and digital engineering, but now moving towards a more intelligent way of constructing and maintaining buildings. But also our customers want smart. They are demanding smart buildings from the construction industry, and specifically Skanska. So we know that we couldn't stand still, and we needed to develop to meet our evolving industry and our changing customer needs to be able to keep up with the times. So that's exactly what we've done. We moved into a market research phase, and our journey started back in July 2020, where this research phase began. And during that time, we wanted to understand what the industry thinks of smart. So we spoke to many customers, a lot of key developers, certainly in the City of London area. We spoke to technology providers, maybe those that are classed as disruptors, that are coming from outside the industry, but entering into the construction industry because of their advanced technologies. And we also spoke to subject matter experts, people that understand the way builders perform, and also how technology might be able to improve that. And what we heard from those customers was that we've been constructing and maintaining buildings the same way for over 60 years. It's time to do something different. And actually that most people don't care about technology itself. They care about understanding how a building is performing and ensuring that a building is performing to its maximum at all times. So from that key learning, we began to paint a vision for Skanska. And that vision had 5 key themes that we describe as underpinning smart buildings. The first is performance. So as I've just mentioned, it's less about technology, but more about how buildings are performing. Secondly, it's sustainability. I think this is probably at the forefront of everybody's agenda right now, but our customers want to understand how they can drive down the carbon emissions on their building and reduce the impact that their buildings have on the built environment around it. Third is operational efficiency. And this is really twofold. That's ensuring the buildings are running efficiently, but also in the way that we operate and maintain buildings. Moving away from more traditional methods of maintenance, such as planned preventative maintenance, where we maintain buildings on a scheduler basis, and moving towards a more condition-based or preventative maintenance regime. Similar to the way your car tells you have a flat tire, we want our buildings to tell us that something needs to be attended to or be maintained, and therefore see improvements in the operational efficiency. Tenant retention. Our customers want to build long-lasting relationships with their tenants, and tenants are demanding more from spaces now. We want to see buildings interact with tenants and give them a better experience. And whilst people occupy buildings, we want to see them working as productive as possible during that period of time with the support of smart technology. And finally, of course, is commercial viability. The question really is, show me the money. Our customers would like to see that if they are to invest in such technologies, that those technologies will see a return on that investment within a reasonable period of time. So those 5 key themes are what really builds the business case for smart buildings. So we took those learnings and we've now tried to define smart for our customers. And we are trying to enhance our service with the support of digital technology. And that really has what we describe as 3 key pillars of building performance. That's sustainability, reducing the impact buildings have on the built environment around it. Operational efficiency, driving operation and maintenance to a more modern method of maintaining buildings. And finally, it's productivity, creating productive spaces for people to work within. And of course, sat across the top of those 3 pillars is building performance. So once we defined this vision, we really wanted to go back and test that with the industry and see whether our vision aligns to what the industry desires. So we decided to create a test to see whether the types of product features, sub-features are what customers are after. And to do that, we created some social media campaigns, we created some dummy landing pages, and we did this to see how many people signed up to show willingness to commit. And we developed some prototypes of the platform. And I'm pleased to say that that was really well received by the industry and gave us a good indication that what we were trying to create is exactly what the market desires. So we then moved into creating the solution. So we are combining technology with expertise. And we have partnered with a company known as Wipro, who are a technology provider, and Skanska are working alongside them to build a custom solution that we feel can help our customers when embarking on the journey of smart buildings. So the first part of that is an intelligent platform to improve building performance. So that's a web-based platform that monitors real-time data from buildings with the ability to make remote changes through using the digital twin. And secondly, it's an intelligent service, so supporting customers with analytical intervention. So using human expertise and over time combining that with machine learning and artificial intelligence to make the best use of data by making real-time recommendations. So how are we actually planning to do this? Well, we want to build a platform that caters for all. And actually, I think this architectural diagram is really important in helping people in the industry understand how smart buildings technically work. So we want to simplify data and we want to drive impactful changes for different types of users. So on the right hand side there on your screen, what you can see on the bottom layer is the input layer. Here you have things like your core building control systems, lighting control system, your BMS, your ventilation, security, and others. And on the right hand side you have additional data sets. That could be your building information modeling, your Internet of Things sensor technology. It could be your FM system, or it could be other information such as commissioning certificates and O&M manuals. We want to feed that information into a platform layer where that data is captured and it's normalized before it runs through what we describe as a building intelligence engine. That building intelligence engine is where data can be displayed and understood and then presented into the output layer, which is for each of the customer types, which we define as the developer, the asset owner or the managing agent, the tenant, and the facilities manager. And that's where those people can understand how their buildings are performing, make decisions, and drive those impactful changes back down the chain. And unfortunately, this diagram should have some arrows at the top moving downwards, but you can imagine making changes on those layers and pushing information back down the chain to make changes to those real-time control systems on site. So what are we aiming to do? And what is a smart building aiming to do for the industry? Well, for the asset owner, it enables them to monitor real-time data to help understand building performance and identify areas for energy improvement through the use of recommendations. For the tenant, it enables them to utilize a digital twin to overlay more diverse and rich data sets to identify areas where productivity gains can be made, specifically through the Internet of Things data, but also provide the softer benefits through a mobile application for things like booking desks, ordering coffee, checking the train times, so on and so forth. And finally, for the facilities manager, it's about moving away from planned preventative maintenance to a more condition-based monitoring approach and utilizing that digital twin to operate the building for all major control systems, making changes remotely. Now, I would have loved to have shown you the platform in real time today, but unfortunately we are short of time. So if you would like to know more around what Skanska have been working on, then please feel free to reach out to myself after the event, and I'd be happy to take you through our platform, which is now live. But I wanted to talk to you today about the benefits of introducing a smart building. So we introduced a test at our HQ office in London City, which is 51 Moorgate. And we wanted to really prove to see whether we can actually improve building performance and we could change the way buildings are operated. So on the screen in front of you is 51 Moorgate. So we took this building, which was an existing building, and firstly, we digitized the building. So we took scans of the entire building, and then we retrospectively created models for the architecture and structure, but of course, most importantly, also the mechanical, electrical, and public health services, and then we also enriched those assets with key bits of information around the products, so things that you would typically see in your O&M manual. From that point, we then connected the platform to those models, and we also made some physical changes on site. So first of all, we replaced the constant volume boxes that were continuously pumping fresh air onto each floor with variable air volume boxes, enabling us to drive a demand-driven ventilation strategy. We upgraded the head end of the building management system, and we installed a edge gateway on site, which enabled us to connect to each of those systems and begin to pull data in real time before we're able to push that to the cloud. And we also mapped every single data point that comes from each of those control systems to the BIM model so that we could connect the virtual asset with the physical asset in real world. And finally, we installed over 150 Internet of Things sensors, which capture data across many different metrics, including indoor air quality. We have vibration sensors, we have people counters, we have leak detection sensors, we have vibration sensors, all of which contribute towards driving a more efficient building. These sensors are wireless powered, and they have been retrospectively installed. So actually really good use case there for how you can retrospectively install sensors into buildings that are already built. And this is the result. So what we've seen over a 12-week period was a reduction in energy at the time of 20%. But since we've had that platform running for 8 months within the building now, we have seen energy savings of 40%. Most of those energy savings are through driving hybrid rules, so using sensor technology to drive another control system. A good example of that is if there's nobody in a room for 15 minutes, turn the lights off. If there's less than 10 people in the building at all times, turn the AHUs off altogether. Or it may be that actually if you have a high occupancy room and CO2 levels heighten, pump some more fresh air in there. So the system's using cross-control systems to control the building. We also seen FM savings of 12.5%. Most of that is by reducing the amount of man hours we physically need on site to maintain the building and carry out checks, but also by moving away from scheduled maintenance, as I mentioned earlier in this presentation, towards more demand-driven maintenance. For example, running the fan core units on run hours rather than scheduling maintenance on them twice a year. They now run to 2,000 hours, for example, and then we replace the filters, so on and so forth. So really moving toward a more condition-based maintenance rather than planned preventative. And of course, we're focusing on tenants and the way that they feel, the comfort they have when they're in the building, by trying to keep the wellness of the space as high as possible at all times. So just to finalise today, our next steps, well, we're finalising the development of our platform. We are looking for pilot projects to do with customers right now and introduce this platform into other buildings and hopefully make a positive change. We are, of course, testing the platform against some key KPIs that have been set before we look to launch to the marketplace later this year in November. So I hope you found that session useful. That's really a story of Skanska's journey into smart buildings over the last few years. There's been lots of lessons learned over that period of time, but actually what we've seen is that smart buildings have a great opportunity to improve the way buildings perform, improve the impact buildings have on the environment, and improve the well-being of tenants within those spaces. Many thanks for listening, and I hope to see you all in person next year. Bye-bye.